For centuries, Canada has been seen as a land of peace, prosperity, and quiet resilience. But beneath this image lies a past filled with secrets, betrayals, and battles that could have changed the course of history forever. What if I told you that the Canada you know today almost never existed? That history could have taken a very different turn if not for a series of hidden decisions, secret deals, and unexpected moments of defiance. Long before Canada was a country, before Europeans ever set foot on this land, powerful Indigenous nations thrived here. But their history is often overshadowed by the story of colonization. What if I told you that some of the most advanced democratic systems and trade networks in North America existed right here, long before European influence? These nations had sophisticated governance systems, with the Haudenosaunee Confederacy, an alliance of 5, and later 6 nations, governing through a system of democracy so advanced that it's believed to have influenced the U.S. Constitution. Meanwhile, the Cree, Blackfoot, and Métis peoples mastered survival in the harsh landscapes of the prairies. At the same time, the Haida and Salish built intricate trade routes along the Pacific coast. Despite the arrival of European settlers and the subsequent chain of events that would reshape their world forever, the Indigenous nations remained resilient, adapting to the changes and continuing to contribute to the fabric of Canadian society. Most people believe Christopher Columbus was the first European to reach the Americas. But the truth is, nearly 500 years before him, the Vikings had already landed in Canada. And for a brief moment in history, they tried to settle here. In the early 1000s, Norse explorer Leif Erikson led an expedition from Greenland to what the Vikings called Vinland, a mysterious land believed to be modern-day Canada. They built houses, forged weapons, and even engaged in trade with indigenous groups, but their presence here was short-lived. According to Norse sagas, the local indigenous inhabitants, whom they called the Skraelings, resisted their presence, leading to violent clashes. Facing fierce opposition, the Vikings abandoned Vinland and vanished from Canadian history. After the Vikings left, Europe largely forgot about Canada for centuries. Until new explorers arrived, driven by myths of lost cities and untold riches. This obsession with the unknown would fuel the next chapter of Canada's history. Some believed Canada held a legendary city of gold, while others thought it was the key to a secret passage to Asia. In 1534, French explorer Jacques Cartier sailed up the St. Lawrence River, claiming the land for France and encountering powerful indigenous nations along the way. He didn't realize this would begin centuries of struggle between European powers to control Canada. Canada was no longer just an untouched land. It had become a battleground for empires. A land of hidden conflicts and secret deals that would shape its future in ways no one could have predicted. As Canada expanded westward, the government struck deals with indigenous nations, treaties that were supposed to guarantee land rights and resources. But many of these agreements were signed behind closed doors under pressure, deception, or outright fraud. In some cases, indigenous leaders were misled about what they were signing. Others were promised food and aid, only to be abandoned once settlers arrived. This led to starvation, displacement, and violent resistance. One of the biggest betrayals came with the Métis people, who fought to defend their land from government expansion. They launched an armed resistance led by Louis Riel. But despite their efforts, Canada's government labeled them rebels. Riel himself was executed in 1885, in what many consider one of the darkest moments in Canada's treatment of its Indigenous peoples. The effects of these broken promises still impact Indigenous communities today. Which of these hidden stories surprised you the most? Let us know in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe for more forgotten history.